Have you ever noticed how some people, once they gain wealth, seem to carry themselves differently? Not just in the way they dress or speak, but in subtle behaviors, in the way they react to others, or even how they view themselves. This isn't always obvious at first glance. In fact, many people around them might not notice it at all. Yet, beneath the surface, wealth can quietly shape the mind in ways that sometimes lead to arrogance. Take a moment to reflect on this. Wealth, by itself, isn't inherently bad. It can give freedom, opportunities, and security. But when we stop being conscious of how it affects our perspective, something interesting happens. Our minds begin to see the world through a different lens. The people, the rules, even the challenges we once faced may no longer feel the same. And this shift, subtle as it is, can plant the seeds of arrogance. Psychologists suggest that wealth can amplify certain cognitive biases that all humans naturally have. One such bias is the illusion of control. When someone accumulates success or resources, it's easy to believe that everything in life is under their command. They might start to think that effort alone always guarantees results, forgetting the countless factors, luck, and timing that contributed to their achievements. Have you ever felt that way yourself, even in smaller moments? Pause and consider. Sometimes recognizing these thoughts early is the first step to understanding oneself better. Another factor is social comparison. Money changes the way we measure ourselves against others. Instead of comparing skills, character, or values, we often unconsciously measure wealth, status, or influence. This comparison isn't always harmful, but over time, it can reinforce a sense of superiority. The mind starts to reward itself for being better, and without careful reflection, this reward system quietly builds arrogance. Notice how we don't always realize these patterns while they're forming. It's almost invisible, creeping into conversations, choices, and even our internal dialogue. The key here is awareness. Simply understanding that wealth can influence perception is a powerful first step. Take a moment and ask yourself, do I notice subtle shifts in how I think or act when circumstances change in my favor? Reflecting on this gently allows us to see ourselves more clearly, without judgment and without feeling pressured. In this video, we'll explore deeper psychological mechanisms that drive these behaviors, revealing why arrogance is often less about wealth itself and more about how the mind reacts to it. By the end, you'll have a framework to notice these shifts in yourself and others, and even take conscious steps to stay grounded. Before we move on, here's a gentle question for you. Have you ever noticed a subtle change in someone after they became more financially successful? Or maybe even in yourself? Think about it, because in the next section, we'll dive deeper into the hidden psychological triggers that can turn wealth into arrogance. And if this insight so far resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. You might be helping someone else see this too. As we move forward, it's important to understand that arrogance isn't a sudden transformation, it develops gradually. Wealth itself is neutral, but the way the mind interprets it can lead to subtle changes in behavior and attitude. To truly grasp this, we need to explore the psychological patterns that wealth can trigger. One of the key mechanisms is self-serving bias. This is the tendency for people to attribute their successes to their own skills, intelligence, or effort, while blaming failures on external factors. When someone acquires wealth, this bias can become magnified. The mind begins to view financial success as a personal triumph rather than a combination of effort, circumstances, and sometimes luck. Over time, this reinforces a sense of superiority because the individual starts to see themselves as more capable or deserving than others. Another important factor is the confirmation bias. Wealthy individuals often surround themselves with people who affirm their choices and lifestyle. When the environment constantly reinforces their beliefs, it becomes harder to see alternative perspectives or acknowledge mistakes. This creates a feedback loop. The more approval and admiration they receive, the more confident they feel in their opinions, sometimes to the point of dismissing others' viewpoints. You can see this effect in both personal relationships and professional settings, where successful people may unconsciously devalue advice or criticism from others. Psychologists also point to the power of social influence. Money can change social dynamics, granting access to circles that prioritize status, achievement, or competition. In such environments, arrogance can be inadvertently rewarded. For instance, being assertive, dominant, or self-promoting may be interpreted as confidence rather than conceit. Over time, the mind adapts to these cues, reinforcing behaviors that could be perceived as arrogant by those outside that circle. It's also worth noting the impact of isolation. Accumulated wealth can create a subtle separation from everyday experiences that the majority face. Simple, daily challenges, like budgeting, commuting, or struggling with small obstacles, become less familiar. Without these shared experiences, it can be difficult to maintain empathy and understanding for others' struggles, which may unintentionally heighten feelings of superiority. Another interesting psychological mechanism is entitlement thinking. With financial success, some people develop an implicit expectation that the world should conform to their preferences. This isn't always obvious. They may still act politely, but internally, the mind begins to assume a position of privilege. Decisions are often guided by personal convenience rather than collective fairness, which can further reinforce arrogance. Take a moment to reflect on this. Have you ever observed someone subtly changing in attitude as they gained wealth or influence? Perhaps they were once humble, approachable, or considerate, but gradually, small differences in behavior began to emerge. The examples don't need to be extreme. Sometimes they appear in the way someone interrupts conversations, dismisses advice, or constantly emphasizes their achievements. These shifts are the result of many small psychological triggers, all quietly interacting with wealth. The good news is that awareness of these patterns allows us to interrupt the process. Understanding why arrogance develops is the first step in cultivating humility, empathy, and self-awareness. By recognizing self-serving biases, confirmation biases, and the subtle effects of social influence, anyone wealthy or not can take conscious steps to remain grounded. Now that we've explored the psychological mechanisms behind arrogance, it's time to focus on a crucial question. How can we ensure that wealth does not cloud our judgment or inflate our ego? Understanding the potential pitfalls is important, but taking conscious action to stay grounded is what makes a real difference. One of the simplest and most effective strategies is cultivating self-awareness. Regularly reflecting on our thoughts, actions, and decisions helps us recognize subtle shifts caused by wealth or success. Ask yourself questions like, am I assuming superiority because of my resources? Do I listen openly to other perspectives? Am I losing empathy for other struggles? These gentle reflections, though simple, serve as a checkpoint, preventing arrogance from growing unnoticed. Another powerful practice is gratitude. People who consistently acknowledge the support, opportunities, and circumstances that contributed to their success are less likely to develop inflated egos. Gratitude helps keep the mind grounded by reminding us that success is rarely achieved alone. Even small daily habits, like mentally noting 3 things you are thankful for or appreciating the contributions of others, can reinforce humility. Maintaining meaningful connections with people from different walks of life is also critical. Engaging with friends, colleagues, or communities who provide honest feedback, who are not influenced by status or wealth, can serve as a mirror, reflecting our behavior objectively. This helps us stay connected to real-world experiences, reducing the risk of isolation-driven arrogance. Mindful generosity is another tool. Acts of giving, whether through mentorship, charity, or simply helping someone without expecting recognition, create balance. Generosity shifts the focus from self-centered thinking to collective well-being. It reminds us that influence and resources can be used to elevate others, not just ourselves. It's also valuable to practice humble leadership. Wealth or status often comes with influence. Leading with humility, acknowledging team contributions, being open to learning, and admitting mistakes reinforces self-respect, while earning genuine respect from others. This approach counters arrogance and fosters long-term trust and connection. Before concluding, take a quiet moment to reflect on your own behavior. Have you ever noticed subtle changes in how you interact with people as your circumstances improved? Are there small ways you can remain grounded while still embracing your success? Awareness, gratitude, connection, generosity, and humble leadership are not just abstract concepts. They are actionable steps that anyone can take, regardless of wealth. Ultimately, understanding why wealth can breed arrogance is not about judgment, it's about choice. Each of us has the power to remain self-aware, empathetic, and humble, even as we achieve financial or personal success. By recognizing the psychological tendencies we discussed, and by integrating the practical habits we just explored, we can ensure that wealth becomes a tool for growth, not a source of arrogance. If this video gave you insights into your own mind or made you reflect on your experiences, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your reflections might help someone else recognize these patterns and grow alongside you.